Sweeping up in the nation's capital, Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford. Before it's back home to face last year's 2 World Series teams, it's one more here in Washington, where the D-backs can close out a 3-game sweep. The D-backs and the Nationals on Fox Sports Arizona. Good morning from Nationals Park and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs are sitting here 19-7 on the year, tied with the Boston Red Sox for the Major League's best record. The Diamondbacks have never in their history been 20-7. They can get there today and complete a 3-game sweep. Either way, Bob, it's been a very successful road trip led by a couple of the usual suspects.
Yeah, the guys you would expect. I mean, the entire team has been swinging the bat well, hitting .273 with runners in scoring position. But David Peralta and A.J. Pollock have more than carried their share of the road on this road trip. In 5 games, David 7 for 19 with 3 homers, 7 driven in. He's played outstanding defense out in left field, and the same can be said defensively for A.J. Pollock in center. He's made all the plays out there. 7 for 21 on the trip with a home run and 5 driven in.
Goldie back in a lineup today, a matchup of left-handed starters, Gio Gonzalez for Washington and Robbie Ray for the D-backs. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Jumbo Jacks, only at Jack in the Box. Welcome into Washington, D.C., Nationals Park, where it is a little chilly here today. Diamondbacks baseball brought to you by Sanderson Ford. Sunny and cool, temps in the low 50s. It is very breezy, especially up high where we are, right above those flags, I think, actually. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh along the way as the D-backs look for the 3-game sweep of the Nationals. Here's your D-backs lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta once again leading it off out in left field. Nick Ahmed moves up to the 2nd spot in the lineup playing shortstop. Paul Goldschmidt back in the lineup, as my partner mentioned, playing first base. A.J. Pollock out in center field. Chris Owings getting a start in right field today with Ketel Marte at 2nd. Devin Marrero down at 3rd base. John Ryan Murphy doing the catching for lefty. Big game Bob, Robbie Ray.
Nationals are slumping. They've lost 6 of 7 and 16 of their last 23. And your Ram truck starting pitcher for Washington today is the left-hander Gio Gonzalez. He is 2-2 in 5 starts, a 3.04 ERA. He's a guy the Diamondbacks have seen plenty of before.
I'm sorry, partner. He really needs to be perfect at this stage of his career. His average fastball slipped under 90 miles an hour. Throws a big over-the-top curveball, has a good changeup when he's looking for a ground ball or a swing and a miss.
He's given up more than 2 earned runs in a game only once all year. Had a very effective season last year. A look around the diamond at the Nationals defense. That's brought to you by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Moises Sierra will be out in left field. Michael A. Taylor in center field. Bryce Harper over in right. It'll be Defoe and Turner on the left side of the infield with Howie Kendrick and Ryan Zimmerman on the right side. Matt Wieters once again behind the plate today for the lefty Gio Gonzalez.
Bill Welke back there for the umpires, calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief Mike Everett is at first base. Tony Randazzo at second. And Nick Lentz is at third. The D-backs looking for their first series sweep of the Nationals since a 4-game sweep here back in April of 2007. And so, Bob, we lead in nicely to your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
I love it when the D-backs win the first 2 games of the series because it makes the key to the game for Game 3 very easy. Sweep!
Simple is always better.
Yes, indeed.
D-backs have opened up 10-4 on the road for the first time in their history. They can start a season 20-7 for the first time ever with a win here today. David Peralta is in the left-hand batter's box, and we are set to go. The finale, D-backs and the Nationals from Washington, D.C. Peralta .322 now with 5 home runs. Breaking ball sneaks through the front door there, and it's 1-1.
Now Gonzalez has only gone as many as 6 innings one time this year. His very first start of the season against the Reds, he went 6 innings, gave up 1 run on 5 hits.
Yeah, he and Robbie Ray, it seems, can be very similar. Both guys can put up very high strikeout numbers, but also the pitch counts and the walks can get up there as well. He's ahead of Peralta, a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the difference, Robbie has a little more velocity and maybe can get away with a few more mistakes than Gio Gonzalez.
Big day for David here yesterday. 3 hits and a walk. He homered twice. His first career multi-home run game. Nick Ahmed bats second today. And Gonzalez with a fastball away gets his first strikeout. Here's Nick at 213. He's got 4 homers. 3 hits in the series. He scored twice and knocked in a run. Nick played a critical role in yesterday's win. A tremendously athletic play up the middle to get the final out. A ball that could have easily gotten through to win the ball game for Washington. He doesn't get to this. It's a walk-off 2-run single.
Yeah, about 7 steps to his left to scoop that ball out of the dirt, and then a tough backhanded flip onto Marte to get the final out of the game. That was a great play.
Center field, Michael A. Taylor coming in. 2 outs for Gonzalez. Paul Goldschmidt takes on Gio Gonzalez today. That's brought to you by AARP. The career numbers for Goldie, and there's some ownage here.
Oh, he's got the pink slip, no doubt about it. 9 for 14 lifetime. That's a .643 average with a couple of extra base hits.
It's one of the big reasons Torey Lovullo wanted Goldie's off day to come yesterday, so we could be in there today against the lefty Gonzalez. And also because when we get back home, it's 4 against the Dodgers, and LA will start 4 left-hand pitchers in that series. So you don't want to have to sit Goldie for any of those games either. So yesterday turned out to be the day. He struck out as a pinch hitter yesterday. Singled and scored on Friday night here. It's 2-0. Gonzalez seems to be aware of those numbers as well. Nothing near the strike zone yet. 3 balls, no strikes. A.J. Pollock on deck. There's an easy fastball at the knees. Gio does not throw as hard as he used to. He's 32 years old now. His 11th season in the majors. And Goldie, true to form, knocks that into left center, a 2-out single. That was 10 for 15, Grant.
Wow, you might as well just save some time. Send him on down to first base. Goes to a 3-0 count, takes a fastball down the middle, and then rips a line drive into left field for the first base hit of the game.
A chance for the red-hot A.J. Pollock. Leading the D-backs in home runs and RBIs. He's hitting .284. And he's had a big series. Got a curveball away. Pollock 4 hits, 4 RBIs in this series. So many critical hits or catches in big moments for AJ. It's not just the numbers, it's the circumstance and the timing. He has been tremendously clutch up there. This is yesterday's ball game. Comes up trailing by a run, 2 outs, 8th inning, and a solid knock to tie the game. And then walks with the bases loaded in the 10th to force in the go-ahead run. And that's after Friday when he had a 3-hit game, a triple and a home run against Steven Strasburg. The homer came on an 0-2 pitch.
Double shy of the cycle against the Nationals in the first game of this series.
He's ahead 3-0. Chris Owings in there against the lefty today is on deck. I know Gio Gonzalez's velocity is down, but this is you're talking upper 80s here.
Yeah. I said his average fastball this year at 89.5. He will bump it up to 90, 91 on occasion, but consistently pitching in the high 80s.
Well, he tried a changeup and missed down low. 2 on and 2 out for Chris Owings.
Well, even when he doesn't swing the bat, A.J. Pollock has been an effective offensive player in this series. Just has such a great eye for the strike zone right now. Most hitters do when they get locked in at the plate. That's why they get hot. They're seeing the ball well. They're swinging at strikes.
CO 246 in a home run. He, of course, was a phantom pinch hitter yesterday. He's got Goldie at second and AJ at first. Jumps on the first offering and hits a fly ball to right field for Bryce Harper. Gonzalez strands to Robbie Ray, coming up from Nationals front. Straight no decisions after winning his first 2 starts. And Robbie's been putting up big strikeout numbers. However, the command has been a little inconsistent. He's averaging nearly 6 walks for every 9 innings pitched.
Yeah, that pitch count gets up there rather quickly for Robbie Ray because of the high number of strikeouts and the high number of walks. Hopefully be a little more efficient here today against this Nationals lineup.
Trey Turner, the shortstop, leads it off for Washington. Devin Marrero just about a half a step in on the grass at third. Here's a fastball in. Turner 264 with a home run. 2 for 9 in this series. He's singled twice. Let's take a look at the Washington lineup. That's presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Turner will lead it off, play shortstop. Ryan Zimmerman at first base. Bryce Harper out in right field. Howie Kendrick cleaning up, playing second base. Michael A. Taylor will be out in center field with Matt Wieters catching. Moises Sierra in left. Wilmer Defoe at third, and Gio Gonzalez on the mound.
Yes, he went, Mike Everett. 0-2 as we've one down. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks defense. A look around the diamond presented by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Chris Owings with the shades on out there in right field. Sun may be a factor today. A.J. Pollock will be in center. David Peralta in left. It'll be Marrero and Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Marte and Goldschmidt on the right side. John Ryan Murphy getting the start behind the plate for lefty Robbie Ray.
Ryan Zimmerman homered and doubled yesterday. 3 hits in the series. There's a fastball up and away, arm side. Zimmerman adding even 200. He's got 4 home runs. This was one of the big hits for the Nationals. 3rd inning yesterday.
There to right center, straightaway center. That's where Zimmerman can really flex his muscles. He's a guy with tremendous power to the opposite field. He stands off the plate because he likes the ball away.
Good hard fastball at 95 from Robbie Ray. It's 1-2. Yesterday was the first day of a experiment for Dave Martinez, the National skipper. He moves Zimmerman up, hitting ahead of Bryce Harper instead of behind him. Good fastball there from Robbie. He spots it at 95. And there's 2 down. We almost got blown out of the booth.
Gusty winds here today.
Hang on. There's Bryce Harper. I've never seen a television monitor get blown across the table like that. Harper 250. He's got 8 homers. He leads the major leagues in walks. It is really gusting. Of course, we're about 3 miles high here. If you've ever seen Die Hard, you sort of get an idea of what we're up against from the booth here. Harper 1 for 7 with a single in the series. He's walked 3 times. Yeah, here we are. Welcome to the party, pal. Way down there. Now keep going. Keep going. A little more. There's the game. Way down there. Swing and a miss. Good slider from Robbie. It's 0-2. Kaye. Harper not getting a whole lot to hit these days. He's 4 for 30 up there over his last 10 games. Belts this one on into right field, a 2-out single.
Robbie's been pretty spot on with his command in the early going, with the exception of that last pitch to Bryce Harper. That's John Ryan Murphy. He gives the sign and then points to the dirt out in front of home plate. He wants Robbie to bounce this pitch ahead in the count, but he leaves it up out over the outside part of the plate, and Harper bangs it into right field for their first hit.
And guess what? Now you get to deal with Howie Kendrick. Dave Martinez likes this lineup construction with Zimmerman batting second ahead of Harper and Kendrick behind him in the cleanup spot. 301 and 4 home runs. He's homered twice in this series. And as always, Bob, Howie Kendrick has been a problem.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, but if you look at the location of the pitches that he's hitting hard, it seems like the Diamondbacks make a lot of mistakes right in the middle of the plate against Howie Kendrick. The first one a fastball, the last one a breaking ball.
Well, there's that fastball arm side that has often sailed up and away on Robbie to right-hand batters. That's been a consistent problem all year. Breaking ball is low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Kendricks hit safely in 6 straight games. 3 doubles and 2 homers over that stretch. back up the middle. Marte behind the bag. Ahmed hustles over there. They get the force on Herpert. Scoreless after 1 in Washington, D.C. For the D-backs at Astros game coming up on Saturday, May 5th. Get there early for the free Cinco de Mayo Fiesta. You'll enjoy live music, a salsa tasting, a beer and margarita garden, and a whole lot more. Get all the details and your tickets online, dbacks.com/Cinco. It's a tough draw on the homestand. You come back after a road trip and you get both World Series teams from last year, the Dodgers and the Astros. Next week, get your tickets. Don't miss any of those games. It's going to be a tremendous homestand. Zach Greinke and we think Rich Hill tomorrow. Matt Cook, Clayton Kershaw Tuesday. Zach Godley, Hyunjin Ryu Wednesday. Corbin and Wood on the Thursday getaway day game. Get you a matinee price on your ticket. And then the Astros come in for 3 starting on Friday.
Yeah, first time in Diamondbacks history they've hosted the National League and American League champion in the same series.
Thanks, schedule makers. But the D-backs right now have the best record in baseball, tied with the Red Sox anyway, 19-6. So they'll take on all comers. They have never, or 19-7, I should say. They've never been 20-7.
Well, you got to play everybody sometime. You might as well play the best while you're hot. Diamondbacks are rolling lately.
First major league team since the 2001 Seattle Mariners with 9 series victories to start the year. Trey Turner makes a nice play at shortstop. And now you look ahead to those 1907 Cubs who have the record. 11 series wins to start the year. They can do that if they can beat the Dodgers and the Astros this week at home. In there against the lefty at third base today, Devin Marrero. 212. He's knocked in 5 runs. Red Sox have probably already sent Michael Brenly a bonus check for their good start. Got to take care of the bullpen catchers.
Maybe not after yesterday.
Marrero hits one deep left center field. This ball is carrying in the wind. Oh, and Taylor runs it down just shy of the wall. The wind maybe blew that back toward right center.
I think you're absolutely right, partner. If that ball kept hooking toward left field, it might have snuck out of here, but the wind pushed it back toward center field where Michael A. Taylor was able to camp under it and make the play.
That was well hit by Marrero. 2 down for John Ryan Murphy. And any high fly ball hit here today is going to be an adventure. It is really gusting.
Yeah, especially on those moments when the sun peeks through the clouds. Wind and sun. That's a bad combination to try to catch pop-ups.
Or broadcast a game. You can hear the wind in our microphones. John Ryan, 222 on the year. He's got 2 homers. Yeah, this is the second day in a row we've driven here to the ballpark. Nice blue sunny sky, and get to game time, and all of a sudden the clouds start moving in. And it is chilly here today. I know it's hot back home. But your staff has looked at the weather, tells me it's going to cool off this week, so that's good. Maybe we can have the roof open for some of these games.
That'd be beautiful.
Low to mid 80s. You can see all the cranes in the distance here as the construction around the ballpark continues. That one planks off Gonzalez on the mound. He's going to have to hustle. They'll pull Zimmerman off the bag, and Murphy's aboard. That's a single for Murphy with 2 outs.
Ball hit right back off Gio Gonzalez on the mound, and ricochets over toward the first base side. Well, you could almost see this one sailing down the right field line. Zimmerman comes off the bag to save Gio Gonzalez an error on that play right there.
Yeah, that would have gone a long way up that line. So if nothing else, the D-backs clear the pitcher spot. Here's Robbie Ray.
Robbie's still looking for his first hit this year.
He's been a hitter before. He, of course, started out his professional career with the Washington Nationals. Nationals made him a 12th round pick out of high school in Brentwood, Tennessee back in 2010. He was traded to the Detroit Tigers, where he made his major league debut, and then to the D-backs. Fastball up and in, and it's 1-2. There's another play for Gonzalez. Gets under that one and throws him out. We'll head to the bottom of the second at Nats Park. No score.
Look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Just about an hour up the road. They had their issues back in 1988. After 21 tries, the Baltimore Orioles finally win their first game of the season. They beat the White Sox 9-0 to go to 1-21 on the season.
Well, you know, you just take them one game at a time.
That's right. Boy, that had to be.
That's a tough draw right there.
I'm telling you. Needless to say, a tough start.
I still can't get over what we saw there between innings after the security issue down on the field had to be addressed. This is a Screech, who the grounds crew jumps in there. A Renegade lawnmower about to mess up the field, and he was quickly taken off the field and is now in custody.
Belly laughs ensued.
Mascot hijinks. He appeared to have a birthday cake on his head. Not sure what all that is about.
And Pinch was here to celebrate the birthday with Screech.
Have we figured out what team Pinch represents?
Not yet.
You got a lot of minor league teams in the area. Must be one of them. Michael A. Taylor, the center fielder, will lead off the bottom of the second against Robbie Ray. Taylor 220 with 2 home runs. He doubled yesterday, 1 for 6 in the series. Good fastball from Robbie. He always stands with his feet as wide as the rubber on the mound. He's got 1 foot, Robbie Ray, on either side of the rubber right there as he looks in for the sign. That's very unusual. Don't see a lot of pitchers do that. Third ball is up and it's 1-1.
One thing that has been pointed out by my staff back in Arizona, who are hard at work even though we're here in DC.
Yeah, right.
Robbie Ray and the time he takes between pitches. Back in 2015, he took 22.9 seconds between pitches. That one fouled out a play down the right field side. In 2016, it went up to 23.6 seconds between pitches, then 23.3 in 17. But this year, it's up to 28 seconds between pitches.
Wow.
Almost 5 full seconds longer than he took between pitches last year.
I remember when we first saw Robbie with the D-backs, the tempo, the pacing was an issue. Just trying to find a consistent rhythm out there. And maybe that's one reason why he's had a bit of a skittish start this year.
Well, things that you can certainly make adjustments over the course of the season when it's pointed out that, hey, maybe you're taking a little too long between pitches. Other guys, maybe you're rushing a little bit too much between pitches. All things that Mike Butcher and his staff keep a close eye on down there when they look at video and break down a pitcher's start and try to find out what went right and what went wrong.
Now, eventually, with Wieters on deck, can that become like a golf swing for guys? Hey, your elbow, your foot, your knee, your hip.
Yeah. Do you inhale or exhale?
Exactly. Yeah. Broken bat roller to third. Marrero makes a nice play. 1 down.
I mean, ideally, you think about those things during your side sessions when you go down to the bullpen with the pitching coach and you work on some things and you take time and try to iron out some of those issues, because when you take the ball for your start, you just want to go out there with a blank mind and execute pitches. Don't worry about your left arm and your right foot and whether you're inhaling or exhaling, just execute pitches.
The switch hitting catcher, Matt Wieters. 202 home runs.
He said if we keep playing that type of baseball, things will turn around and wants to stay positive.
Wieters has barely seen any time at all from the right side of the plate this year.
Uh-oh. Whoa, Robbie didn't look good after that last pitch. Walked off the mound, called out his catcher, John Ryan Murphy.
And here comes Torey Lovello and Ken Crenshaw to have a look.
Didn't really notice anything in the delivery itself, but immediately after he let that pitch go, he's pointing to his right side.
It may have happened during the Michael A. Taylor at bat. Watch after this pitch.
Yeah, that was on the Michael A. Taylor at bat. He's already wondering what's going on. And they're not going to take any chances with Robbie.
Robbie Ray's day will end here. TJ McFarland is usually the guy Torey Lovello goes to when he needs some length out of that bullpen. So we'll sort it out when we come back. Robbie Ray has left the ball game in the second inning. Robbie may have injured himself.
You could see on the last pitch to Michael A. Taylor, there was some discomfort, but Robbie thought he could possibly pitch through it. But after that last delivery to Matt Wieters, he immediately called John Ryan Murphy out to the mound, continuing to grab at that right side as he's talking it over with Mike Butcher.
And the first thing you think of is an oblique, but we'll have to get some kind of definitive word as the game moves along here. So the Diamondbacks rotation already down Taijuan Walker, who had Tommy John surgery this week. And now maybe without Robbie Ray, hopefully not too long. So here's TJ, who of course earlier this month in LA had that 4-inning relief appearance when he came on in almost the same type of situation. Taijuan Walker pitched 2 innings against the Dodgers, had to leave, eventually was diagnosed with that torn ligament in his elbow. TJ came on and was spectacular for 4 innings of relief, and they'll need a similar effort here today.
Well, we've seen him do it before, and TJ McFarland's strong point is keeping that ball down in the zone, getting ground balls, letting his defense work behind him. He's got a solid defensive infield behind him today with Devin Marrero at third.
And for TJ, it's just one ground ball after another. Looking back through the book here, the last time we saw TJ McFarland was Tuesday, which was the series opener on this road trip at Philadelphia. He worked 1 inning and threw 14 pitches, and so he's had a decent amount of downtime here. And we'll see how much they can get out of him and not to blow up the bullpen before we head home to face the Dodgers and the Astros.
And the entire Diamondbacks outfield out there talking to the guys in the bullpen while TJ gets himself ready for this ball game. Visitors having an open house in the left field bullpen today.
Well, it's a little better than the bullpen in Philadelphia, where Archie was telling us that the key out there is to always wear a coat or a jacket so the fans that are standing behind you can't read your name, because once they get your name, then forget it.
You're done.
Yeah, they'll pick you right out of the lineup. But there's a little bigger buffer zone here at Nats Park.
And the steady flood of people off the train coming into Nationals Park has slowed down a little bit. Pretty nice crowd here for a very chilly Sunday afternoon. And we can see in Baltimore they have a late arriving crowd as well from our vantage point here on top of the stadium.
So now Mike Butcher and Torey Lovullo will have to come up with a game plan here as the D-backs look for the 3-game sweep of the Washington Nationals and their first ever 20-7 start. They last swept Washington in a 4-game series that was here in this ballpark back in April of 2007. And TJ says he's set to go.
You know, it's a good thing that TJ McFarland is the guy for this particular situation. You hope it never happens, but if your starter gets blown up early or gets injured, TJ's the guy to come in, and you're glad he's a veteran, because a lot of young pitchers go out to the mound and everybody's waiting on them. So they tend to rush their warm-up throws. They say they're ready maybe a few pitches before they really are. TJ's going to take as much time as he needs. He's been there, done that.
Well, he inherits the 1-0 count on Wieters. That's fouled off, and it's 1-1. Fastball just a little low for Bill Welke. 2 balls and 1 strike.
That's his bread and butter right there. That sinker that starts at the knees, and as the batter gets ready to swing at it, it just dips below the bottom of the strike zone, gets those ground balls he's looking for.
Well, Mike Hazen was telling us not too long ago the D-backs feel really good about their organizational starting pitching depth. They've got some guys at Reno that they really like. And of course, we've already seen how good Matt Cook has been. And so if you do need to fill in for Robbie Ray, a turn or 2 through the rotation, they have plenty of options.
Yeah, occasionally you'll be in a stretch of the season where you have a few off days over a 2-week period and you can get by with only 4 starting pitchers, but that's not the case for the Diamondbacks right now. Got an off day coming up Monday, and then the next one is the following Monday, and then they have to go nearly 10 days before the next one after that.
This one is hit deep to left field. It's headed toward the bullpen, and it's gone. Matt Wieters, his third home run this year, and the Nationals take the early lead.
Down, but Wieters went down and got it. A little uppercut swing right there, scoops that low pitch into the bullpen in left field.
Moises Sierra, the left fielder. Sierra 231 and 4 RBIs. He struck out 3 times in the series. Sierra had a good spring. He hit over 320 with 3 homers in Florida as a non-roster invitee. And here he is. Nationals have had to use a number of those guys with all the injuries they've had. No Murphy and no Rendon. No Adam Eaton. TJ gets the ground ball out, brings up Wilmer Defoe. Defoe in at third, hitting .212. Saw Adrian Sanchez in at third yesterday. Nationals are without Anthony Rendon. He fouled the ball off his left big toe. He's been out since April 13th. He's been taking ground balls here this weekend. Eligible to come off the DL today, but they think he's at least a few days away still. Adam Eaton, we saw Spanky here Friday. He's got a bone bruise on his left ankle. He was hopping around in a walking boot. He's been out since April 8th. And Daniel Murphy, the guy that really sort of holds this offensive lineup together, they haven't had him all year. He's had a microfracture surgery on his right knee back in October. He's in West Palm Beach right now trying to get back in shape, but he's not close to coming back. So Dave Martinez really shorthanded.
Anthony Rendon is the closest to returning for Dave Martinez. He was eligible to come off the disabled list today, but they don't think he's quite ready yet.
So they've got all these non-roster guys suddenly playing every day. That's had Mike Rizzo a little concerned. It's a big reason why they've lost 16 of their last 23 games. 5 games under 500 for the year. Nobody saw that coming here in Washington. Well, that was right there for TJ. But Bill Welke didn't give him the call. And Defoe draws a base on ball. TJ's got to have that pitch if he's going to be successful.
Certain pitches are necessary for different pitchers for different reasons. Robbie Ray would rather have the high 4-seam strike. TJ McFarland wants that one down there around the knees.
And if he can't get that call, he's going to have a tough time. So Defoe is at first base. 2 outs for Gonzalez to swing and a miss. Nationals only 3-9 at home this year. They have really struggled in 1-run games. And they've lost a pair of 1-run games in this series. 5-4 Friday and 4-3 yesterday in 10 innings. Gonzalez shoots one up the middle. And he's got his first base hit this year.
normally TJ McFarland is a very good fielder out there because he does throw so many ground balls. He has to field his position, but that one got underneath him, hit off the corner of the bag, and died out there in shallow center field.
So a run is home on the Wieters home run. 2 on and 2 out for the leadoff man Trey Turner, who struck out to start the ball game for the Nationals. Tried a slider down there, got the call that time, 0-1. Turner homered in his second game of the year. And he's not homered since. He has only 6 extra base hits this month. Defoe is at second and the pitcher Gonzalez at first. Turner didn't look like he'd be anything close to a slap hitter, but his April slugging percentage is lower than his on base percentage.
And you think with his speed he would be able to turn an occasional single into a double.
Find some gaps or something down the line here and there, but it's just not happened yet. Fouled away. A slider. It's 1-2. Change up down. 2-2.
Well, so far the Nationals doing a nice job of laying off that low pitch from TJ McFarland. He's just missed the bottom of the strike zone on several pitches. Many times he can get opposing hitters to chase that pitch and put it into play weakly, but the Nationals are laying off, making him get the ball up in the zone.
Already 20 pitches in this inning for TJ. He's always had the ability to get easy outs, work both sides of the plate, get ground balls. Usually when he does give up a base hit, it's something on the ground that goes through the infield. Much like Gonzalez's single a moment ago. Fastball missed. It's full 3-2. And you've got the big boys coming up next. Zimmerman, Harper, and Kendrick.
This would be a great place to end the inning right here. Keep those guys in the on deck circle until the next inning.
Gonzalez is down there without a jacket. I thought in short sleeves. It's jacket weather here certainly. Full count, 3-2. Here go the runners. Almost hit him with a fastball, and suddenly the bases are full of Nationals, and Ryan Zimmerman steps up. Second walk in the inning for TJ. Here comes Mike Butcher. They were not charged a mound visit when they went out to check on Robbie Ray.
However, they did have a mound visit earlier in this inning. John Ryan Murphy went out to quickly have a word with TJ McFarland, and home plate umpire Bill Welke immediately signaled that that was a visit. So this is mound visit number 2.
Of course, Dave Martinez got caught up in that. The mound visit yesterday when he went to get his pitcher. He faced the pinch hitter Chris Owings before Owings was announced, and he was pulled back by Tor Lavello. Dyson out there taking it back. eventually the D-backs got the winning run on a bases loaded walk. Davey said he thought the plate umpire Nick Lentz was writing down the pitching change or the pinch hitter, and instead he was simply writing down the mound visit. So there was some confusion there for the rookie skipper. Bases full of Nationals. Nationwide Vision Center eye on the game. Defoe at third. The pitcher Gonzalez at second, and Turner with great speed at first. Change up for Zimmerman, 1-0. Zimmerman struck out looking his first time up. PJ could really use a ground ball right here. Tried to check his swing. He went a low fastball, and it's 1-1. Zimmerman red hot lately, hitting better than .330 in his last 9 games, including 2 home runs. He's really heated up after a slow start. One and two. Ryan Zimmerman now 33 in his 14th major league season. He was the first Nationals first round pick after they moved from Montreal. That's how long he's been around. 2005. Off the plate, down and in. 2-2. Bryce Harper would be next. Just got a piece of that slider.
The Diamondbacks defensively in the outfield playing Zimmerman very deep, respecting his power, but also if he happens to get a base hit through the infield into the outfield, it's going to be tough for Gio Gonzalez to score from second base. He's a pitcher out there running at second. I think the Diamondbacks feel even if Zimmerman happened to get a single through the infield, that the outfielders could charge the ball hard enough to hold Gonzalez at third.
DJ needs to make a pitch. Gets him the hack of the fastball off the plate. It stays 2-2. Zimmerman, you might remember, last year was looking like a league MVP for the first half of the season. As late as June, the middle of June, he was hitting over .370. But he cooled off the rest of the way. Still finished with 36 home runs last year.
With his approach at the plate, you feel like 30 home runs is a minimum for him every year. We talked about his opposite field power. He can pull the ball hard as well.
It's a tapper back to the mound. McFarland drops it, can't pick it up, and Defoe scores. 2-0 Nationals.
Just gotten a little bit too much of a hurry. Had plenty of time with Zimmerman running. Even after the initial drop, he still had time to pick that ball up and get Zimmerman at first base, but fans on it the second time right there, and now there's not an out to be had.
And now you'll deal with Bryce Harper and the bases full. Harper hit a hard single to right his first time up. He won. Harper has not been in too many of these situations this year where somebody has to throw him something in the strike zone. He's leading the major leagues in walks by a wide margin. We're told it is a strained right oblique for Robbie Ray. Ahmed has it, drops it, picks it up, and recovers nicely. And Harper leaves him loaded, but the Nationals take a 2-0 lead. If you're just joining us, it's been an eventful 2 innings so far. The big news is an injury to Robbie Ray. A strained right oblique caused Robbie to lead the ball game in the bottom of the 2nd inning. TJ McFarland had to come on cold and finish off the inning. Matt Wieters had a home run. TJ had an error on a ball hit back to him that he dropped to score another run. And so Robbie Ray has left the game, and Torey Lovullo's ball club trails it 2-0. As we start the top of the 3rd, David Peralta will lead it off against Gio Gonzalez. A strained right oblique for Robbie Ray.
Well, depending on the severity of that injury, we know that they can be long lasting. Other times guys get through them rather quickly. Hopefully it'll be the latter.
Peralta struck out to lead off the ball game, coming off his 2-home run day here yesterday. At .319 with 5 homers.
To make a little wardrobe change between innings, partner. Had to go put some more clothes on.
I don't blame you. It's all about layers when you're up here 6 stories high in the wind. David has homered 3 times on the road trip. He's down here 0-2. D-backs with 2 hits, a Goldie single in the 1st, and John Ryan Murphy single in the 2nd. Gonzalez has walked 1, struck out 1 so far. There was a little friction between Gio Gonzalez and his manager Dave Martinez after Gonzalez got the loss in his previous start last Monday at San Francisco. He didn't pitch all that badly, 3 runs in 5 innings. He walked 3, but there was an issue after Martinez pulled him from the ball game. That was after a leadoff walk in the 6th inning. Gonzalez was at 94 pitches, seemed like a reasonable time to make a move, but Gio let everybody know after the game he was not happy. So those two had to have a conversation, and now all is well, they say. But Gio was not shy about telling reporters he thought 100% he should have stayed in the game.
Oh, that's great. He's going to pitch and manage.
I bet you love that, right?
Oh,
when you get
yeah.
help like that? Sure.
There's one easy answer to that for a manager. If you want to stay in the game, pitch better.
Well, like I said, 94 pitches, 6th inning. He's walked 3 guys. He pitched pretty well, but On the surface, it seemed like the time to make the move, especially with a guy that can be erratic like Gio Gonzalez can. But Davey said the bullpen was fresh. He thought it was a good chance to make the move before things got out of hand in the inning. A leadoff walk.
I wonder what Gio would have said had Davey left him in the ball game and got whacked.
I'm out here wearing it.
Yeah,
Give me help.
Everybody knew I was tired. Come on, get me out of there.
But now everything's supposed to be good. Ninth pitch of the at-bat to David Peralta coming up. And he looks at a fastball. Second strikeout for Gonzalez. He's got Peralta both times.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-the-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Nick Ahmed batting second against the left-hander today. Nick flying out to center, deep to center, his first time up. Talk about some big moments for A.J. Pollock in the ball game yesterday. How about Nick Ahmed? Comes up in the 8th inning, faces Ryan Madson, gets a base hit, comes around to score and tie the ball game on the Pollock single. And then Nick led off the 10th inning with a double and scored what turned out to be the winning run when A.J. took that bases loaded walk. So Nick is really factored into the win here, certainly yesterday. 3 hits in the series. He scored twice.
Yeah, it was Nick that was kind of in the middle of everything, especially late in the game yesterday. But you look at the Diamondbacks team batting average going into play tonight was .229. But they're hitting .273 with runners in scoring position as a team. So even though they're not getting a lot of hits, they're getting them at the right times.
Nice play by Trey Turner, but too deep in the hole to get Ahmed. He backhanded on the outfield grass. It's an infield single for Nick. Third hit for the D-backs.
Yeah, nice play, but not really much you can do with it out there in shallow left field. An off balance jump throw. You can see it had a big arc in it as it worked its way across the diamond. And with Nick's speed, he's going to leg that out every time.
Goldie singled his first time up today, coming off the off day yesterday. The single made Goldie 10 for 15 in his career against Gio Gonzalez.
We mentioned it a couple times, but when we were talking to Torrey about when Goldie might possibly get an off day, he said it won't be Sunday because he's 9 for 7 against Gio Gonzalez.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. He wasn't too far off.
Talk about batting 1,000. That's hammered down the line, but foul. And after this one, it's back home to face the Dodgers, who will start 4 left-handed pitchers in that 4-game series beginning tomorrow. So you want Goldie in there for all 4 of those games.
Diamondbacks this year against left-handed starting pitching 10-1.
How about that? Yeah, we'll see Hill, Kershaw, Ryu, and Wood Monday through Thursday. And then the Astros are in for 3 starting on Friday. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. Big homestand coming up against last year's 2 World Series teams. Called strike 3. Breaking ball is in there, says Bill Welke.
I think that's the one that bothers players more than any other bad called strike, is that breaking ball that never gets to the outside corner. That pitch was never in the strike zone.
I have a feeling, based on the way you always analyze that particular situation, that you may have walked out there at one point in your managerial career and said that exact same thing to maybe 1 or 2 umpires.
Maybe once a week.
Very politely, I'm sure. AJ walked his first plate appearance today.
I can see it if you throw a breaking ball that at some point in its path to the catcher's glove, it crosses the strike zone or is in the strike zone and then dips out of the zone. But when you throw a pitch that never reaches the strike zone, that's not fair.
You make a good point. I guess that's what happens when you start searching for strikes.
Yeah.
Your other favorite phrase. Sometimes you just have to search outside the zone, that's all.
Well, then why do we have a strike zone?
I'm not sure we do sometimes.
Yeah, really.
1-1.
A 2-run deficit to this Diamondbacks team is seemingly insignificant. They never really worry too much about trailing in a ball game. They just keep scratching and clawing and trying to get back in the game somehow.
We're down 2-0 after 3 innings yesterday. High in the air. Taylor fighting the sun in center. A lot of room out there. He's got it. And Gonzalez gets through the third, holding a 2-0 lead.
Bob, do want to let you know I talked to my Sherpas and they are not going to come up and get you. They're at base camp.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Plant a flag.
You're on your own.
I think that makes you the Hans Gruber of the broadcast group.
Wow, outstanding. Okay.
Nice work.
Hey, I have a little observation I'd like to share with you if this inning allows me to.
Please. Oh, Devin Marrero at third. And they retire Howie Kendrick. Go ahead.
Very quickly, but Steve, you mentioned that at this point yesterday the Diamondbacks were down 2-0. And you might recall that was because Patrick Corbin lost that third out on the pickoff play on Trey Turner and the bad sequence between Christian Walker and Ketel Marte. I was down outside the Diamondbacks dugout in the camera well, and I just kind of watched how things developed in the dugout between innings, and it was interesting to see. Tony Perez-Chica went right to Ketel Marte and had a conversation about what happened at the bag. Torey Lovella then went up to Christian Walker, patted him on the back, gave him a bit of encouragement, and this was all done right in the line of sight of the pitcher, Patrick Corbin. And within seconds, David Peralta launches that home run into left, and that 2-0 lead, or deficit I should say, is now 2-1. In that moment, I think essentially was gone. And I talked to Torey about it today. Did I see what I thought I saw? And he said, yeah, you did.
Taylor hits one out there. Peralta backing up in front of the bullpen. He's at the wall, and it's gone. Michael A. Taylor, that's his third, 3-0 National.
I saw that.
Well, you were talking about home runs to left field.
Yes, I was. In any event, as I get around to the end of this guy's series, it's now a 3-0 deficit. Bob, I just saw a a real sense of accountability, a coachable, teachable moment, and then the other guy's picking up the mistake, and that other guy was David Peralta. And that moment where it kind of teetered there for a second, you lost that third out, and the mistake was pounced on, and it was over.
The Diamondbacks have been really good. I've talked about that 0-1 team, and I think one of the qualities they had that I see in this team is they know how to lose.
What does that mean?
Well, you're not going to win every game. You're going to have some ball games where you bump up against a tough starting pitcher, the other team blows up offensively, and you're going to lose some ball games. How you handle those losses and come back the next day is going to determine what kind of team you are. And that 0-1 team knew how to lose, and I think this team knows how to lose. You take what you can out of the loss, you improve the things that went wrong, you focus on the things that went right, and you come back the next day and do it again.
They've done that all year long. 19-7, tied with the Red Sox for the best record in baseball. Wieters homered off T.J. McFarland. It was Wieters who had a 1-0 count when Robbie Ray had to leave the ball game with a strained right oblique in the second inning. And T.J. McFarland came on. Wieters homered. And now Taylor is homered. Got the call on the changeup. 2-2. Interesting about the contrast between that team and this team. This is a much younger team than the ones you had.
Oh, yeah. But I like the fact that the entire coaching staff, whether it be Tony Paraschica with the infielders or Dave McKay with the outfielders or Robbie Hammock with the catchers, if something happens in the game that needs to be addressed, they don't wait until after the ball game usually. They address it as soon as the player gets back in the dugout while the situation is still fresh in their mind. And you address it and you move on and hope it doesn't happen again.
You saw TJ's reaction there. The pitch was below the strike zone. Bill Welke called it a ball, but TJ is feeling like he's not getting anything down there, and he needs those pitches at the bottom of the strike zone. That one was a little low. And here's the left fielder, Moises Sierra. And this is hit in the air, left center field. It's carrying out there. Stays in the yard. AJ tracks it down just shy of the wall, and Wieters scampers back to first.
The wind helped us out right there a little bit. We saw a ball hit out there earlier in the game that got knocked down for the Nationals. That time AJ Pollock able to track it down in that gap in left center.
It's unusual for TJ, who's been such a good ground ball pitcher since he's been with the Diamondbacks, but he's given up a couple of home runs, and that was almost a third. 2 down, and here is Wilmer Defoe, the third baseman.
Yeah, the home run to Wieters was a pitch that was down. He just went down and scooped it and golfed it out of here to left field. However, the one to Michael A. Taylor was a hanging breaking ball.
That one slices foul. The Nationals are starting to get a little grumpy. They've lost 6 of 7, 16 of 23. They've only won 3 home games all year long, and so they're starting to feel it a little bit.
Yeah, they won their first 1-run game of the season and have lost the next 8 1-run games in a row.
That'll age you quickly if you're a rookie manager in your first month and you're missing 3 of your best hitters. This is out to right center field. Owings and Pollock. It'll be CO. But Taylor gets his 3rd home run. Nationals get their 3rd run. We head to the 4th. This is the road trip finale. It's back home after this one for the Dodgers. First of 4 at Chase Field. Dodgers in there for the second time this year. Starting tomorrow. And you can get your seats right now. Get ready to chant Beat LA. dbacks.com for tickets. Zach Greinke on the mound tomorrow against LA's Rich Hill. Matt Cook and Clayton Kershaw on Tuesday. Godley and Ryu Wednesday. Patrick Corbin and Alex Wood in the Thursday getaway day game for LA. Get you a matinee price on your ticket there for that Thursday game. dbacks.com. Chris Owings leads off the 4th against Gio Gonzalez, who now holds a 3-0 lead. CO flying out his first time up. Gonzalez got the low strike call that time. It's 0-2. He's walked 1, struck out 3 so far. Chris playing mostly as the right fielder versus lefties. Hasn't seen a whole lot of action on this road trip. Played some second base in Philadelphia just to get his bat in there. Fastball up and in. Gonzalez has his 4th strikeout.
Well, with all those lefties coming up for that Dodger series, CO and all the right-handed bats are going to get plenty of plate appearances. Elevated fastball that time from Gonzalez.
Dodgers played a doubleheader with the Giants yesterday. Ketel Marte.
Panda had an appearance on the mound in game 1.
Pitched a perfect 9th inning.
He looked like he had done it before.
And he dropped, I saw he dropped a nice little curveball in there to somebody. Things got a little out of hand in the first game. Boy, the Giants. Mac Williams is on the DL now.
Boy, and the Giants don't have anybody to blame for that but themselves with those bullpen mounds on the field of play. And slashed into right field for a 1-out base hit for Ketel Marte. If you didn't see it, Mac Williamson playing left field for the Giants was pursuing a foul ball on the left field side and got over there where those bullpen mounds are. His legs got pushed up underneath his body and he propelled himself head first into the fence. Suffered a neck injury.
After he'd hit just about a home run every other at bat for a while, both in the minors and the majors. Devin Marrero now in at 3rd today. Well, the story goes at AT&T Park, they just forgot about the bullpens when they designed the ballpark.
Yeah,
right?
they forgot about the bullpens. They forgot about players parking. There were a lot of issues that weren't initially addressed with that stadium. I mean, when they first opened up, they had no storage. So, like, the giveaway items on a given day or extra equipment or whatever was just stacked out in the concourse.
How can that happen? It's a beautiful ballpark.
Yeah. I think they were just in such a hurry to get the ballpark up and running, and they overlooked a few things.
Of course, you remember back in the day the Giants were this close to leaving San Francisco. That's why the Trop in St. Petersburg, where the Rays play right now, was originally built. That's where the Giants were going to move to. But they came up and kept the team in the Bay Area with what was then Pac Bell Ballpark and is now AT&T Park.
Yeah, I mean, that was all but a done deal. Bob Lurie was going to sell the club to a group in Tampa Bay. I remember getting a box from the Tampa St. Pete Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, no kidding.
With neighborhoods and schools and all the stuff of, you know, a new resident.
Wow. Right to Turner at shortstop. Hendrick for 1, and they roll the double play. Well, Gio Gonzalez has got it going here today. Nationals lead the D-backs 3-0. The World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live, over 300 hours of World Cup coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. I can't get over the violent act that we just saw. Look at the Navy Ram headbutt Abe Lincoln. Boom!
Oh, my.
And down goes Abe. And he was down for quite a while, had to be attended to by mascot doctors.
Well, that's piling on right there.
All those secondary mascots came on and ambushed the president's race between innings here, and nobody won. Oh, the humanity. Gonzalez, Ahmed backhanded, sets and throws. And they retire Gonzalez to start the bottom of the fourth. I mean, that happens sometimes in the president's race. That thing gets violent.
It does.
You know, usually you go some places, they'll have a little a little comedy sketch, and not here. I mean, they'll headbutt guys and stuff.
You'd think at least the president's race would be bipartisan in this town. But
well, there's all kinds of directions in which to go there. Here's Trey Turner. He has struck out and walked. I mean, if this were a college football game, that Navy mascot would be out of the game for targeting.
Ejected.
Yes, it's a targeting violation. Lowered his head and made a direct path right to Abe Lincoln.
Of course, it's hard not to hit the presidents in the head.
They are rather large.
Yes.
One on Turner. If you're just joining us, Robbie Ray had to leave the ball game today in the bottom of the second inning with a strained right oblique. TJ McFarland on in emergency relief. Robbie Ray faced Michael A. Taylor, got him to ground out to start the second inning. And after one pitch to Matt Wieters, had to come out of the ball game. So we'll have to talk to Torey Lovello about that. They'll get a look at Robbie Ray and maybe find out some more information after the game. Todd will have that on D-Backs Live, the post-game show. And Turner dunks one into right center. And a one-out single.
And now the count mouse begins. Trey Turner leading the major leagues with his 10 stolen bases in 10 attempts. Make that 11 for 11, excuse me.
And had another one in the game yesterday. He walked with 2 outs in the third, stole second, and that was before Ryan Zimmerman hit that home run off Patrick Corbin. It was an interesting spring for Ryan Zimmerman. I don't know if you saw, but he basically just blew off spring training. He skipped it. He was a little sore when the camp opened up, and they shut him down for a day or two. So he wound up playing one Grapefruit League game all spring. And instead, he just worked out on his own program. He was taking at bats in minor league camp, just kind of doing his own thing. Everybody was fine with it. He checked with Dave Martinez, said, okay, you're a veteran, I trust you, you do your own program. And he just was on his own all spring long, believing that at 33, now 14 years in, he just saved wear and tear. Why kill myself all spring long? I got to stay healthy. And it raises an interesting question. Maybe they should rewrite the blueprint for spring training, at least for some veteran players. Turner holding it first. Because Zimmerman was saying, look, it's a lot of risk for a lot of players with no reward. And so why would teams risk their biggest assets? Instead, just take ground balls, take your at-bats in a controlled environment on a backfield somewhere, and that's what he did all spring long.
Well, and you can understand it with a veteran player like Ryan Zimmerman, allowing him to go on his own program, but it could create a rather awkward precedent.
Yeah. It's got to be handled just the right way.
Absolutely. I mean, the rest of the team has to sign off on that as well. We got a veteran player here that might not make it through spring training if we put him through all the drills and all the games and everything in the Grapefruit League or the Cactus League, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it could ruffle some feathers. Other guys that feel maybe they deserve preferential treatment as well.
2-2. There's a tapper back to the mound. TJ's got it. Marte turns it quickly, but Zimmerman beats it out. Turner a little slow, getting up at second base.
TJ maybe a little too deliberate on his feed to second base here. Takes an extra step, makes sure he makes a good throw to Marte, and you can see Cattell really tried to rush his turn out there at second base to complete that double play, but too much time had elapsed.
So Zimmerman is at first. 2 down for Bryce Harper, who has singled and grounded out 1 for 2. Thing about Zimmerman, when he was on his own program, he could get 1,000,000 at bats. He was getting sometimes 10 at bats a day playing in some of these backfield games. So it was an advanced program. Marte way out there with the shift on, and they retire Harper. 5th inning on the way. D-backs trail the Nationals 3-0. Fifth inning. Fans, you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home in the office or on the go with MLB.tv. It includes MLB at Bat Premium that lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.tv for details. You got a huge ovation when we got off the bus and arrived at the team hotel last night. Got a lot of corporate sponsors here. There's a big D-back troop. They've been here all weekend long, and they're all at the hotel. And after last night's big win, it was like a World Series parade, a Stanley Cup kind of a deal. They were all in the lobby. Everybody was cheering.
Yeah.
It was quite a sight. This is the arrival. Well, maybe not Stanley Cup worthy, but pretty impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. Yeah, they were all sitting in one section on the third base side last night, and every time the Diamondbacks did something good, you could hear the roar from that one little section of D-backs fans over there.
Yeah, it was like a college football game where they only get a little slice of tickets in one section where the band sits. But so they're all out here today. They are really loud, and they're having a great time. It's good to have them here. Got to meet the folks from Streets of New York Pizza. All strike 3. Murphy caught looking. 5 strikeouts for Gonzalez. Well, TJ McFarland going to take the at bat here in the 5th inning. TJ trying to give Torrey as much length as he can here, not blow up the bullpen before that big homestand. against LA and Houston. Robbie Ray left in the second inning. A strained right oblique for Robbie Ray today. So McFarland's been holding down the fort out there ever since.
TJ McFarland may end up getting more at bats this year than ever before in his career.
The way he's going.
Yeah.
As the long man. You're right.
This is his third plate appearance of the season. Unfortunately, he's punched out in the first two.
And 3. 6 strikeouts for Gonzalez. Got some napkins or something blowing around in the field down here. It's a very cool, windy day. It sort of reminds me of the old hot dog wrappers at Candlestick Park.
That was the smartest thing they ever did at Old Candlestick Park. They used to put the hot dogs in that kind of wax paper, you know, and
yeah,
people would pull the hot dog out and throw the paper on the ground. The wind would blow and the paper would end up on the field. So they switched to aluminum foil.
Clever.
Yeah.
Isn't that just more dangerous?
You just wad it up in a ball
and throw it at catchers.
With crazy crap.
David Peralta. David has struck out twice against Gonzalez, and right away he's down 0-2.
I think that bat went down that time. David headed over to that third base dugout to get a new piece of wood.
David's in-laws are here. They came down for the weekend to check out David, Jordan's parents. They got to look at some baby pictures in the lobby this morning. Little Sophia. Jordan is taking boxing lessons, her dad was telling me. Yeah, she's going down to the gym and boxing 3 days a week.
How about that?
So they're here bundled up. They were in the team store buying some more sweatshirts. He didn't go, says Nick Lentz. In fact, you saw David after his 2 home runs here yesterday point up in the stands.
Yeah, did notice that.
All part of the big D-backs contingent here in D.C. for the weekend. Gonzalez a strike away from striking out the side. 1-2-3. And there it is. Gio Gonzalez strikeouts 5, 6, and 7. He gets the side in the 5th. And the D-backs still trail it 3-0. Only 2 weeks from today. Well, if you forgot to get mom something, or if you're running behind, we got you covered. Spend time with mom and family at Chase Field. First 10,000 moms take home a D-backs tote bag, courtesy of bubbly sparkling water. Get your Mother's Day tickets. D-backs in these Nationals. dbacks.com/mom. Howie Kendrick leads off the fifth against TJ McFarland. Kendrick 0 for 2. D-backs will wrap up this road trip. We're on an airplane after the ball game, headed back home finally for a difficult homestand. The last two World Series teams, the Dodgers and Astros, will start off with 4 from LA, against LA, I should say. And maybe we've got some breaking Dodger news. LA had to put Yasiel Puig on the DL today. He's got a hip pointer, so we won't see Puig in that series. And we won't see Rich Hill tomorrow either. He was supposed to pitch the opener for the Dodgers against Zach Greinke, but he's got an infection on his finger. Of course, he's had some blister problems. So it's a finger infection for Rich Hill. He will not start tomorrow. It might be Brock Stewart. That is fair down the left field line. It's in the corner. Peralta plays it off the carom, and Howie Kendrick's at it again. That's his 10th double.
Once again, look at the location of the pitch. Inside part of the plate, just below the belt. Seems like every mistake that you make against Howie Kendrick, he hits a line drive somewhere.
You said it last night. He's just a good hitter.
Yeah, just a professional hitter.
Man. He's now played 25 games with Washington this year, Howie Kendrick. He's hit safely in 21 of them. Michael A. Taylor homered his last time up, his 3rd of the year. TJ's got it. Kendrick runs into an out at 3rd. He ran out of the baseline, says third base umpire Nick Lentz. Marrero, once he reaches out and tries to tag the runner, that establishes the baseline, and you can't maneuver 3 feet either direction outside of where Marrero's arm is extended.
That's a tough play for a base runner at second base. You're conditioned that anything hit to your left as a base runner at second, it's probably okay to advance. Anything hit to your right, you have to see it through. The wild card is that that pitcher can make a play on the mound. That was just bad base running that time by Howie Kendrick. That ball was just topped back to the mound. Should have been pretty easy to read that one. And yeah, he goes out of the baseline. Once the defender tries to tag you, your baseline is established. From where you are, a straight line to the bag, and clearly Kendrick went out of the baseline that time. We're talking about the Dodgers and the issues they're having. I talk all the time about taking your breaks where you get them. There's a good chance the Diamondbacks are going to play the Dodgers 11 times with no Justin Turner and 5 times with no Yasiel Puig.
I'll take that every time.
Oh yeah. You know, top heavy schedule against the National League West this year. We don't see the Dodgers again after that 2-game trip to LA. We don't see them again until the end of August, beginning of September.
And we've just played 3 against the Nationals with no Rendon and no Murphy, no Adam Eaton. As you have often said, it's not who you play, it's when you play them.
And miss Max Scherzer in this series. That's always a bonus.
And Wieters, a home run in the 2nd against TJ McFarland. But now it's the D-backs who will be tested, already without Taijuan Walker, and today they lose Robbie Ray to a right oblique injury. No word yet on the severity of Robbie's oblique. We'll try and get something after the ball game and the post game show. Todd Walsh will have that. Every year we always say, in terms of the starting pitchers, you're going to need more than 5.
Oh yeah.
It always works out that way.
I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I think a Bob Melvin Mariners team made it through an entire season with 5 starters.
How about that?
It's very, very rare, but yeah, you better plan on needing at least 7 or 8, maybe more than that over the course of a season.
Keeping a close eye on Taylor, a perfect 9 for 9 in his stolen base attempts this year.
We asked Torrey about pitching out in this series with Turner and Taylor, 2 burners on the bases. Would he pitch out a little more often? He says he doesn't like to pitch out a lot, but if he would, it would be 0-1 or 0-2.
Taylor will generally go early in the count. Try and give his hitter a chance. A changeup well off the plate, 1-1 on Wieters. DJ had 60 pitches on in relief, 35 strikes. Came on with 1 out in the 2nd inning.
You can use the pitch out as a defensive weapon even if you don't think the runner's going. If you have a favorable count for your pitcher, 0-2, 1-2, and you're comfortable that he can throw a pitch out of the zone and then get right back into the zone again. I love to show pitch outs. It goes on every advance report. They will pitch out. They will pitch out. And if you do it in those situations where it's not going to hurt your pitcher, it sends a message to that other team that the Diamondbacks will pitch out when the fast guys get on base.
Well, Taylor's been holding here, and now TJ is behind on Wieters, 3-1. With Moises Sierra, the on-deck hitter. Still holding in first, right to Ahmed at shortstop, and they roll the double play. 6th inning on the way in DC. D-backs trailer 3-0. The Dodgers in the 9th inning bring in the Panda to pitch.
He did a nice job, kept the ball down, mixed in a couple of curve balls, got 3 ground ball outs. The only 1-2-3 inning of the game for Giants pitchers.
It's the final out right there. Kelby Tomlinson, and the Panda Pablo Sandoval works a 1-2-3 9th.
Well, and that served the purpose. I mean, obviously you got 3 quick outs, which didn't happen much in that game 1 yesterday, but you can see the Giants in the dugout. They were all laughing. They were getting waxed by the Dodgers in that game, but after the game was over, the mood had lightened and they were ready for game 2.
Nick Ahmed 1 for 2 with a single, leads off the 6th against Gio Gonzalez, who's got 7 strikeouts so far. Somebody brought up a good point. Game like that, 15-6, 15-2, whatever it is. Nobody ever does that when they're winning that game. You would think with a big enough lead, hey, maybe I'll save a reliever or 2 here and bring in a position player. I got a big lead. What could happen? Things get dicey. I'll bring in a real pitcher. But only losing teams do that in those blowout games.
Well, you have some explaining to do if you do that as the winning team, and you lose the lead.
Yeah.
With your backup left fielder on the mound.
Of course, Pablo Sandoval, when he was growing up as a kid, wanted to be a catcher and an infielder. And he was a left-hand thrower, so his brother taught him to throw right-handed so he could be a catcher.
How about that?
So he's not even a natural right-hand thrower. He's a switch hitter. But there he was, pitching right-handed in a big league game. Full count on Nick, 3-2 with Goldie on deck. Still only 3-0 here. And that one is a fair ball. Ahmed shoots it the other way down the line. Nick's at it again. It's in the corner. And Ahmed is 2 for 3, a leadoff double.
Boy, nice approach. We've watched Nick all summer. When he gets pitches from the middle of the plate in, he's looking to lift the ball in the air to left field. When they pitch him away, he's content to do this. Just take the ball the other way. Right down the right field line for a leadoff double.
D-backs now with 5 hits. Goldie is singled and struck out. He's 1 for 2. Right to Defoe at third. Looks Ahmed back to the bag. 1 away. That'll bring up A.J. Pollock. AJ's walked and flied out 0 for 1. Gonzalez just over 90 pitches now. Dave Martinez in the game here yesterday ran through his entire bullpen. Everybody back there got in the game. They sent Adams down, a guy that came in and walked Dyson and Pollock in the 10th inning last night. So there's one fresh arm back there. Right-hander Austin Voth recalled from AAA Syracuse for the game today. Turner at shortstop. 2 down. Well, Ahmed's still out there at second, 2 outs now, and here's Chris Owings. CO has flied out, struck out 0 for 2. Gonzalez has walked only 1. He's got 7 strikeouts. He just got the side in the 5th. You're a good barometer of these kind of things. I always like to save strike out the side for when he faces 3 batters and strikes them out. Some guys say strike out the side if you strike out 2 guys, give up a single, and then strike out another guy. Which side of the fence do you fall on? You don't generally get caught up in semantic arguments like this.
Not usually.
It's not your style.
But I would tend to say 3 straight.
Yeah,
would be struck out the side.
If you give up something in between, it kind of waters it down. Do you prefer RBIs or RBI?
I've done it both ways in the past. I think correctly it's RBIs, but it just sounds fun.
Yeah, doesn't it? He's got 65 RBI this year. It just doesn't sound right. Yeah. Even though it stands for runs batted in. These are the kind of things that come up. In the dirt, 1 and 2.
Semantics. I know you like to get into it with my staff once in a while.
Well, they're a very feisty bunch.
That's usually when I go next door to the radio
yeah.
booth.
And we're yelling at each other. 1 and 2. Turner backhands it from the grass at shortstop. Long throw, and they get Owings. So Ahmed's leadoff double goes for naught. D-backs still trailing 3-0. D-backs trail at 3-0. Valley Toyota dealers. Let's go places. We finally get to go home after this one. But we will play on the next homestand. Last year's 2 World Series teams, 4 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Houston Astros. And we go to LA for 2. We're right back home to face these Nationals for 4. And then the Brewers are in town. So a lot of home games coming up. Get your tickets, dbacks.com. Starting tomorrow night at Chase Field with Zach Greinke on the mound against LA. Moises Sierra, 0 for 2 so far. The left fielder starts off the 6th inning. Sierra's another one of those guys, a non-roster invitee who's playing significant time for the Nationals right now, where they're so short-handed. As Mike Rizzo was telling us here the other day, they're just kind of hanging on until they get some reinforcements, some of their really good players back in the lineup. Murphy is out, Rendon is out, Eaton is out. They're all hurt. But Mike was telling us he does like the fact that some younger guys are getting some opportunities. They fared pretty well. If you consider the lineups that they've had out there, sometimes there's been a lot of lineups like last night. It's Adrian Sanchez out there and Pedro Severino and Moises Sierra, Wilmer Difo, and they're trying to win with all those guys.
Yeah, you don't mind playing some of your younger players a little bit at a time. You know, one guy here for a month, one guy there for 3 weeks, whatever it is, just to get them a taste until you get all your horses back on the field. But you don't want to have several positions manned by guys that, quite honestly, should probably be getting some experience at AAA.
Yeah, they've had 3 or 4 non-roster invitees that have made the club, and sometimes they're all in there at the same time. Devin Marrero has it at 3rd. Ground ball out for TJ. Starts off the bottom of the 6th.
Partner, we've got a perfect game watch going on in Pittsburgh. Making his first major league start, Nick Kingham has gone 6 full innings, 18 up, 18 down, 8 punch-outs.
I wonder if it's as cold there as it is here. I wonder if that has to factor into it.
Betting it is.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye on that. Here is Wilmer Difo. In there at 3rd base for the injured Anthony Rendon. Rendon is out with a left big toe problem. He fouled the ball off his foot. And they think he's still a few days away. He's been working out here taking ground balls over the weekend. But it is amazing to have 3 or 4 non-roster guys playing all the time, and it's not even the end of April yet. But the Nationals are trying to grind it out. 70 pitches for McFarland now, 40 strikes.
Kind of reminds me of my rookie ball season in Great Falls, Montana.
What happened?
We had on our team the number 1, 2, and 3 pick in the June draft. This is when they had June and January draft.
Oh, yeah.
They had the number 1, 3, 5, and 7 picks in the winter draft. And they also had 6 22-year-old college free agents, myself included. Go foul.
Yep.
All of the college 22-year-old free agents were playing. And when my manager, Ernie Rodriguez, was called by the organization, said, hey, how come you're not playing any of the prospects? He said, none of them are any good.
Oh, that's why they're there. They need to get better. We got to play this Brenly kid. He's hot. How did that go over? Ernie keep his job?
He kept it for a while, yeah. Ernie was quite the character. You know, I was very fortunate to play for some great characters in the minor leagues. Ernie had one of those old alarm clocks with the bells on top tied to a shoelace to his belt and stuck that big old alarm clock in his pocket.
Wait a minute, he walked around like that?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Come on.
I'm telling you.
You're making that up.
No.
Why would anyone do that?
So I would have a story to tell many moons later.
Fernando Salas starting to get loose in the D-back bullpen. He worked 1/3 of an inning in the ball game yesterday. That stays fair. Marrero, what a play! Oh! And they get the speedy Difo. Devin Marrero at 3rd. Wow.
You'll see that one again. What a play by Devin Marrero. We've seen him flash leather all over the place. Our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool play of the game doesn't get any cooler than that. Off balance throw from foul territory. Goldie shifts into foul territory to take the throw, and they get the speedy Wilmer default.
He has really been something down there defensively. Devin Marrero. What a play. Gio Gonzalez, the pitcher, will take the at bat. Your staff here tells me that it is indeed freezing cold in Pittsburgh. It's 41 degrees.
Ooh.
Where they had that perfect game. It's a little warmer here, but it's very windy. Of course, you look at the weather thing on your phone, it's going to be like 90 here on Wednesday.
Of course.
Nice and sunny, but not today. I was able to confirm that, of course, with the governor, Greg Schulte. Gonzalez waves at that one, and TJ gets through the 6th inning. We head to the 7th. D-backs trail at 3-0.
Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
All right, we got a problem. Let's see. I'm looking at the Twitter feed for Andy McCullough, who does a terrific job covering the Dodgers for the Los Angeles Times. And Andy today quoting Dave Roberts, when it's all said and done, the Dodgers will be at the top of the division. Dodgers are in for 4 at Chase Field starting tomorrow. The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Well, what else do you want the guy to say?
You know, one play him one at a time. Hope to help the ball club. Something.
It's a rough year. We'll be back next year.
Of course, he was asked about the injuries that they've had. Rich Hill will not start tomorrow's game against Zach Greinke. He's got an infection on his finger. And they had to put Yasiel Puig on the DL today with a hip pointer. Here's Ketel Marte starting off the 7th inning. And the Dodgers haven't had the best start ever, so Dave Roberts guaranteeing a division win this year as Marte leads it off with a single against Gio Gonzalez, who's about to throw his 100th pitch of the ball game. Ketel's 2 for 3, and here's Marrero. I mean, you would never do anything like that. I get we'll win the. That's a Joe Namath right there.
Yeah, you got to really. That's a bold prediction, but like I said, what do you want the guy to say? He shows confidence in his team, and he wants them to know he has their back. So he's going to say things like that.
Well, each team with 6 base hits. D-backs had Nick Ahmed lead off last inning with a double. He was stranded at second. Trying to get the offense going, trailing 3-0. 2 home runs by Washington. Matt Wieters and Michael A. Taylor. Here are the numbers on Gonzalez. He's walked 1. He's got 7 strikeouts. I guess stuff like that just makes good copy, especially in a media town like Los Angeles.
Oh, sure.
Bullpen starting to stir for Davey Martinez. Never got the right-hander. Saw him in the ball game yesterday. Then again, we saw everybody in the ball game for the Nationals. D-backs began play today, leading the National League West by 5 games ahead of the Colorado Rockies. 19-7, tied with Boston for the best record in baseball.
Red Sox have had a tough go of it lately. Ran into a red-hot Tampa Bay ball club. They've won 8 in a row, the Rays.
How about that, huh? Everybody just left them for dead.
Yep.
Kevin Cash has his team playing well. Zoe Lovello trying to get out of here with a sweep, but his ball club trails at 3-0.
You know, we've seen a lot of early count swinging from the Diamondbacks today, and I don't think that's a mistake. I think that's by design. They've looked at a lot of video. They've seen a lot of Gio Gonzalez in the past. They've crunched the numbers, and the Diamondbacks always have a game plan against an opposing pitcher, and apparently against Gio Gonzalez was be ready to hit that first strike.
Full count, 3-2. He walked him. Just the second walk, the first for Gonzalez since the first inning. And the D-backs have 2 on and nobody out here in the 7th. Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach. Trevor Gott warming up in the Washington bullpen. John Ryan Murphy will be the hitter, the pitcher spot behind him. And it looks like Daniel Descalso has come out in the on-deck circle. He would hit for T.J. McFarland.
Perhaps Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, went out there to ask Gio Gonzalez, are you going to let us know when you've had enough today, or should we just kind of wing it over here?
Do I have your permission to remove you from the ball game? We're just having a little fun up here. Murphy has singled and struck out 1 for 2. 2 on, no outs. D-backs down 3-0. Fastballs off the plate, 1-0.
Yeah, I really don't have any issues with what Gio Gonzalez said after his last start, but there's a better way to handle it than going to the media. You know, if you got an issue with your manager, go in his office, talk about it.
Well, you know, if it's always important when people say things like that and you read them to remember he was asked a question. He didn't just get on top of his chair and make an announcement. And I don't think there's any pitcher worth anything who would say, yeah, I wanted to come out of the game. So there's always that, and then it just gets blown up into something big. It's like Grady Little goes out there and asks Pedro Martinez, can you continue? What's Pedro going to say? No, take me out. Well, Grady left him in, and we all know what happened. That was the end of Grady Little in Boston. 2003. 2-0 on John Ryan Murphy. Little tapper. Zimmerman well off the bag. Shovel pass to second. They get the force on Marrero. Marte in at third. And Murphy's aboard at first. 3-6 from the fielder's choice. So here's Descalso, who's had one big hit after another on this road trip. He will hit for McFarland.
And we could use one more right here.
Daniel singled twice yesterday, walked and doubled Friday night. He's hit safely in 5 of his last 6. 212 with 3 homers. This one is slicing out to deep left center field, but Taylor has room. And here comes Marte with the first D-backs run. RBI for Descalso, and it's 3-1.
Diamondbacks hitter attacking that first pitch from Gio Gonzalez, and Daniel Descalso looking for something up. He could lift in the air to the outfield, and once again a sac fly to deep center field.
Murphy still at first. A run is home, 2 outs for David Peralta, who has struck out all 3 times today against Gio Gonzalez.
Now David just doesn't look like he's picking up the ball out of Gonzalez's hand. He's been so locked in throughout this road trip. We featured him in the open of the show. 7 for 19 before today, but just doesn't seem to be picking the ball up well against the Nationals left-hander.
Good example right there. It's 0-2. Fastball upstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ahmed, who's 2 for 3, would be next. He strikes out Peralta for the 4th time in 4 at-bats. D-backs get on the board. They trail it 3-1. We've seen him make some spectacular defensive plays all year long, but I think we found the topper here, Bob, this afternoon.
Yeah, this one taking him into foul territory. The off-balance throw all the way across the diamond. Our nationwide vision eye on the game. 156-foot throw fading away from his target, right on the money to Goldie to get that out. We've seen him make plays to his left, to his right, coming in, going back, and really flash that leather.
D-backs trail it 3-1 as we start the bottom of the 7th inning here at Nats Park. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Rendling, Tom Walsh with you. Fernando Salas on for T.J. McFarland, who replaced the injured Robbie Ray in the 2nd inning. Robbie suffered a strained right oblique. And so we get Salas, who threw 4 pitches in the ball game here yesterday, his 14th appearance this year.
Oh, by the way, Nick Kingham of the Pirates, his perfect game bid went by the boards. Paul DeYoung with a 7th inning single for the Cardinals to break it up.
Not a whole lot of offense in this one. 2 home runs by the Nationals. Matt Wieters in the 2nd and Michael A. Taylor in the 3rd. walk off T.J. McFarland to T.J. throwing error accounted for the other run. D-backs just got one back, and now Trey Turner will lead off the home half of the seventh. He's 1 for 2. He's also walked. Fernando Salas has been a tremendous find for the D-backs bullpen. Right-hand batters have hit only 135 against him this year. And he's not given up an extra base hit to a right-hand batter this season. Split last year between the Mets and the Angels. Fastball up, Turner ahead 3-0.
All three fastballs just above the top of the strike zone. One maybe nipped the top of the strike zone, but Salas doesn't usually work up in the zone like that. Maybe he's trying to get Trey Turner to hit the ball in the air.
Zimmerman on deck. The sharp end of the stick is coming up. Zimmerman, Harper, and Kendrick 2, 3, and 4 after Turner. Wind is really gusting in now from left center field. Missed with a fastball will lead off walk. And Turner, who leads the major leagues in stolen bases, gets a free pass, his second walk today. Here's Zimmerman. Turner a perfect 11 for 11 this year. And there he goes. First pitch. Here's the throw from Murphy. And make it an even dozen. Trey Turner.
We talked about Turner the other night. He usually waits until deeper in the count before attempting to steal a base. Looks like he got his hand on there just before Marte could apply the tag.
D-backs are having a look in the video room. Here's another angle.
Occasionally you'll see that middle infielder drop a leg, especially if you know the base runner is going to slide head first. You can almost block second base like a catcher used to be able to block home plate.
Turner, one of the fastest base runners in the game, gets number 12. It's 0-1 on Zimmerman. Zimmerman starting with yesterday's game, and as we mentioned earlier, moved up from hitting behind Bryce Harper to ahead of Bryce Harper in the 2-hole. Howie Kendrick's been hot, so he's batting cleanup behind Harper. Dave Martinez said it's something that they've done before when he was the bench coach for Joe Madden, kind of move some guys around, shake things up a bit.
We've seen Joe Madden hit Kyle Schwarber first. We've seen him hit Anthony Rizzo first in the order for the Cubs.
He's been a mad scientist. Some of that may have rubbed off on Dave Martinez, who was 10 years as Madden's bench coach in Tampa Bay and Chicago. You had Dave Martinez, right, with the Giants?
Yeah, when I was coaching under Dusty Baker, Dave Martinez came to the Giants late in his career as a fourth outfielder, pinch hitter off the bench, defensive replacement late. Really good teammate.
We got to chat with Dave at his office yesterday before the game. He's like you, he started collecting grandchildren now. showing us some pictures.
I've got him by 3, though.
Yeah, you got a head start.
Dave was telling us he doesn't live far from the ballpark, and most days he rides his scooter.
Yeah,
he's got an electric scooter he rides over here to the ballpark.
Just like Hunter Pence used to. Maybe still does in San Francisco. He said it gets up to about, what, 25 miles an hour on that thing.
Yeah, he's got to get some kind of a license and a helmet.
Scoots around D.C. 3-2. Bryce Harper on deck. Zimmerman, here's a guy that has been through it all. So many serious injuries over the course of 14 years in the majors. Plantar fasciitis, broken thumb, on and off again, hamstring problems, and that very serious shoulder injury that started some real throwing problems and eventually led to a move from third base to first base.
Yeah, it was painful to watch his last year at third base. He could barely get the ball across the diamond. It was hard to watch.
And Welke out to break up the mound visit by Murphy and Ahmed. Full count on Zimmerman, 3-2. Harper on deck.
Yeah, Nick apparently saw something with Trey Turner out there at second base that he did not like. I was keeping an eye on Turner. I usually keep an eye on the second base runners to see if they're relaying anything. It's hard to tell, but he had his left arm up on his hip when the pitch was thrown. Then he put his arm down.
How about that fastball from Salas, and he gets a big strikeout. It's just a little thing like that that you're looking for.
Oh yeah, you never know what it might be. Sometimes a guy will stare straight ahead if it's a fastball. If he looks to his right or his left, that indicates an off-speed pitch. Sometimes it's hands on the hip for a fastball, hands off for an off-speed pitch. Sometimes, depending on which foot you step first, will indicate to the hitter inside or outside. Intentional walk here to Bryce Harper. He'll go on down to first base to set up a potential double play.
Another walk for the major league leader. First base open. They'll deal with Kendrick, who doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Two on and 1 out. Right to Ahmed. They get 1 and they roll the double play. Nicely done. That's why you pitch around Bryce Harper right there. 8th inning on the way. D-backs trail at 3-1. The Nationals 3-1. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. We're back home after this one. A 4-game series starts against the Dodgers tomorrow night at Chase Field. Zach Greinke against not Rich Hill, who was scratched with an infection on his finger. It might be Brock Stewart. After that, 3 lefties for the Dodgers: Kershaw, Ryu, and Wood. Greinke, Cook, Godley, and Corbin Monday through Thursday. And then the Astros are in town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And from what we understand, the temperature should be very comfortable back in Phoenix when we get home. Hopefully roof and panels open.
Get your tickets at dbacks.com. A matinee game on Thursday. You'll get a price break on your ticket. Brandon Kinsler, who worked a 1-2-3 7th inning in the game yesterday, is on to start the 8th. Ahmed has singled and doubled today. He's 2 for 3. I was all over Nick on Beat the Streak today. This had all the makings. He's hot, lefty starter. I'm up to a big 4. 4 whole games in a row. And Ahmed dunks one into center, his 3rd hit today. And the D-backs in the 8th inning will get the tying run at the plate.
Nick has led off an inning in his last 2 at-bats. In his 6th, a double down the right field line. Here in the 8th, a single into center field. Let's cash it in this time.
A chance for Goldie. 1 for 3, a single in the 1st. D-backs have now out-hit Washington 7-6, but they trail it 3-1. Another fastball in there. 0-2. Goldie struck out as a pinch hitter yesterday on his scheduled off day. That came against Ryan Madsen in the 8th inning. Long set by Kinsler, goes away with a fastball again. Bill Welke doesn't bite. It's 1-2.
That's that off the plate sinker. He starts it just off that outside corner, tries to get it to tail back and get the called 3rd strike, just a little bit off the plate that time.
Ad Weeder's back there for the Nationals.
Another one out there.
Back to the well, and Goldie strikes out.
All sinkers that time to Goldie, just pounding away at that outside corner. You can see that action. Started off the plate, tailed it back to the corner. Goldie just trying to put it in play somewhere. Comes up empty.
Boy, between Kinsler and Gott, they've got some guys back there with some heavy sink.
Yeah, sinkers.
Pollock 0 for 2. He walked in the 1st. Smashes the bat to Kindling, and they turn the double play. Bottom 8 on the way. D-backs down 2.
50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACS50 at papajohns.com.
A bullpen day, and so far TJ McFarland and Fernando Salas are saving some arms back there. Michael A. Taylor, who homered in the third, leads off the 8th inning. If you're just joining us, Robbie Ray had to leave the ball game today in the 2nd inning with a strained right oblique. You got Michael A. Taylor to ground out to start that 2nd inning, and then had to leave after a 1-0 pitch to Matt Wieters with a strained right oblique. McFarland came on. He finished up that batter, and he went all the way through the 6th. Salas worked the 7th, and he's back out there for the 8th. No word yet on the severity of Robbie Ray's injury. We'll try and get some details for you on the D-Backs Live post-game show. Tom Walsh will have that for you. Fastball up. Try to change up. It's 2-2 on Michael A. Taylor, the center fielder. Matt Wieters, the catcher, on deck. Both these guys have homered. Wieters in the 2nd and Taylor in the 3rd.
Just looking at next week's schedule, thinking about Robbie Ray, assuming he won't be able to make his next start, you won't need another starter until that Friday game, the first game against the Astros in that homestand. So conceivably, if Robbie had to go on the disabled list, you could call up a reliever until Friday, at which point you would need somebody to take that start.
Well, Bracho was back and forth 8 times last year. He's already been up once. Bracho looked good while he was here. 2-2 on Taylor. Well, our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer raised a good point. Last year, very early in the season, the D-backs lost a starting pitcher to Tommy John surgery, Shelby Miller. This year it was Taijuan Walker. Last year, Robbie Ray missed a month with that concussion after the comebacker at St. Louis. And even with those injuries, the D-backs won 93 games. So certainly no need to panic until we have more information. Even if Robbie is down for an extended period like he was last year, there's plenty of organizational depth to pick up the slack.
And you mentioned a name that we haven't talked about for quite a while, Shelby Miller. At some point this summer, a real good chance he'll be back in the rotation.
And the news on Shelby's been very encouraging as he continues his comeback. Breaking ball, nope, it's full 3-2.
It's been quite a battle. The next pitch will be number 10 to Michael A. Taylor here, leading off in the 8th.
Taylor hits it deep to right center field. Pollock in front of the wall, and he's got it. Let's go downstairs to Todd.
Heck of a catch there. Hey guys, listen, I was struggling on my descent down here to near field level, and I thought I heard, I had some technical problems, but Dave Roberts essentially claimed the National League West, and I don't want to get ahead of producer Al Porteous and Jody Jackson and Kate Longworth and Mark Grace, but I just want to thank Dave for another segment that he has provided with Diamondbacks Live tomorrow.
That's kind of the point, Todd, that Bob and I were making.
Exactly,
and it makes for a good immediate discussion in a media town like LA.
And Phoenix, and that's not the first time. If memory serves, it was either a year ago or before when he pretty much did the same thing, and that gave us a good, at least a week of content, and then we got to revisit it every single time the Diamondbacks played the Dodgers. So a tip of the hat from D-Backs Live to Dave Roberts from Washington.
The entire staff would like to thank
all of us, yeah.
The Dodgers skipper. Sure. Here's Matt Wieters. Yeah, referring to a tweet from Andy McCullough, who covers the Dodgers for the LA Times, is sent out today, quoting Dave Roberts. When it's all said and done, the Dodgers will be at the top of the division. Dodgers are in at Chase Field for 4 starting tomorrow night. There are, I guess, like you said, what's he supposed to say? We probably won't win. Well, of course not. But there are maybe more diplomatic ways to sort of work around that question. But, he's a confident guy. He's got a good ball club.
We're just going to play him one day at a time.
Good Lord willing, hope it just works out. Sky to center. AJ's got a little more room this time. It's stuck up in that wind.
You said it earlier, partner. Anything that's hit high in the air today is really going to get pushed from left field toward right field. That time AJ went back several steps, then had to come back in several steps to make the catch. Checking the wind out there.
Like a golfer on the 15th tee there. All right, let's go with the 3-wood. Moises Sierra for 3. D-backs in the 9th inning will have Owings, Marte, and Marrero due up 5, 6, and 7. And the left-handed closer Sean Doolittle has been warming up in the bullpen. We have seen Doolittle in both games of this series so far. Tell you what, when your starting pitcher leaves after 1 batter in the 2nd inning with an injury, and you're thinking, uh-oh. Just dynamite the whole bullpen here. Tip of the cap, wag of the finger. TJ McFarland and Fernando Salas, these 2 guys have come in and saved everybody's bacon.
They really have, and I talk about it all the time. Nothing will upset the apple cart quicker than a short start by your starting pitcher and a bullpen day when you have to go through everybody. That's when you start having to make roster moves. Get fresh arms up here at the major league level, but TJ McFarland went 4 2/3 today. Fernando Salas on in relief of him.
And Salas trying to get through the 7th and the 8th.
Another name we haven't mentioned in a while that used to be very effective in that role, Randall Delgado.
Yeah.
Continues his rehab. Hopefully we'll see him on the mound at some point before the summer's over.
Randall had to basically start over again. He's going through a whole simulated spring training. 2-2 on Moises Sierra, the left fielder.
I mean, Randall was that guy. If you had a spot start, you could drop him in there. If your starter got knocked out of the ball game early or came out because of an injury, he could come in and give you 4 or 5 innings out of the pen.
Boy, Devin Marrero with another beauty at 3rd. The throw, though, pulls Goldie off the bag. Well, these look like Brooks Robinson and Greg Nettles down there all day. Tough play there, though.
Yeah, the throw just sailed on him. He got to it in pretty good shape. Hard hit ball to his backhand. He's able to plant his foot and throw this time, and unfortunately got too much on the throw and pulls Goldie off the bag.
Sierra will come out. Rafael Bautista will run. Long walk to the mound for Torey Lovullo, who wants the baseball here, and that's it for Salas. We'll take a break from Washington. D-backs trail at 3-1. Back after this. Expos bullpen, the left-hander Jorge De La Rosa will flip Wilmer Defoe around and bat from the right-hand side. They have actually, I can't believe I have to say this out loud, given Devin Marrero a throwing error on that last play, which is just absurd. So, but score E5 for Sierra, who's been replaced by Bautista down there, the pinch runner at first.
A little tough to tell on the replay, but I'm not so sure they would have gotten Sierra at first base even if the throw was online.
And he was throwing that almost from the third base coach's box, but they've decided E5. So here's Defoe with Bautista at first and 2 outs. He walked and scored in the second. He's 0 for 2. He's a switch hitter. He's much better from the left-hand side of the plate than the right. Ahmed going to have to make a tough play here. And Defoe beats it out. He runs pretty well. 2 on and 2 out.
Nice effort, and Nick made it a lot closer than it should have been right there. As you mentioned, Defoe runs pretty good, got down that line in a hurry, but Nick made it close. That jump throw from deep in the hole at short.
So 2 on and 2 out. The pitcher spot is up, and here's Adrian Sanchez. It's a hit for Kinsler. Sanchez started yesterday's game at third base. He doubled and struck out 3 times. Just called up for the minor leagues on Tuesday from AAA Syracuse. Bautista is at second and Defoe at first. That rolls away from Murphy. Everybody stays home. Splitter in the dirt.
Good block and recover right there by John Ryan Murphy. They don't always come right down in front of you. As you see our nationwide vision base runners for the Nationals. Defoe at first, Sierra at second. That time the ball took a hard carom up that third baseline, and Murphy got to it so quickly the runners had to stay.
1-1 on Adrian Sanchez. Fastball low, and it's 1-2. This is the out to get with Turner, the leadoff man, on deck. Nick Ahmed, backhander, long throw, and they got him. That gets us to the 9th inning. D-backs trail it 3-1. oblique strain. The Nationals behind solo homers from Matt Wieters in the second and Michael A. Taylor in the third. Have taken a 3-1 lead. And now here comes the closer. 4 for 4 to save opportunities this year. The left-hander Sean Doolittle, who's making his third appearance in this series. Doolittle threw 8 pitches on Friday and threw 13 pitches in the ball game here yesterday.
Yeah, 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, otherwise zeros across the board for the Nationals left-hander.
Chris Owings, Ketel Marte, and Devin Marrero due up 5, 6, and 7. Bautista, who ran for Sierra, stays in the game and takes over in left field. CO 0 for 3 today. Doolittle very aggressive with his fastball, likes to work up in the strike zone.
We saw that especially in game 1 of this series when Doolittle came in. Every fastball was letter high, top of the strike zone.
Don't see a lot, for whatever reason, of left-handed closers. Billy Wagner comes to mind. He was a great one, but there's just not a whole lot of them out there.
I think possibly sometimes the left-hander gets categorized as a left-handed specialist.
Ketel Marte on deck. He's singled twice today. Each team with 7 hits. Another fastball up in the strike zone. Above the zone, in fact. It stays 1-2. Nationals looking for only their 4th win at home all season. They are 3-9 here. They've lost 6 of their last 7 overall, 16 of their last 23.
Just pounding away at the top of that zone. CO just getting a piece of him each time.
He really does remind you of Archie Bradley in that way, with the beard and the power fastball and the here it is, hit it kind of attitude. That is a fair ball down the left field line. It's in the corner, and Chris Owings has his 6th double. D-backs will get the tying run at the plate in the 9th.
Good battling at bat there by CO. He earned that base hit, fouled off all those high fastballs in the mid-90s. Doolittle finally scoots one down about belt high, and CO bangs it down into the left field corner for a leadoff double.
Well, the D-backs have now had the leadoff man aboard with a base hit in each of the last 4 innings. That runner has scored only 1 time. That was Ketel Marte, who led off the 7th with a single. And here is Marte. He's 2 for 3. This is trying to get down, but Kendrick drifts out there to collect it. What a run. Devin Marrero now. Marrero is a guy who will give you a really good at bat against a left-hander. Saw that in the ball game of the 10th inning last night against Sammy Solis, the Nationals lefty. Marrero battled, eventually struck out, but had a long AB, fouled off a whole bunch of pitches. Tying run at the plate, 1 out in the 9th. Devin walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2. He's flying out and headed to a double play. He's been an effective bat in there when he starts. Marrero, 5 hits. He scored 5 runs in his last 6 starts.
Marrero is one of those guys that you can't really judge him just by his offensive numbers, because we've seen him save a boatload of base hits and possible runs with his defense down there at third base.
It has been stellar. One fastball upstairs after another from Sean Doolittle. 1 and 2 on Marrero. The catcher Murphy on deck, pitcher spot behind him.
Tricky about any of these pitches from Sean Doolittle. He's just rearing back and firing high fastballs.
Well, we've seen John Ryan Murphy barrel up some balls when he's been back there as the starting catcher. He singled in the second today, 1 for 3. Last man standing for the D-backs. Pitcher spot is on deck. Christian Walker has made his way out into the on deck circle. Guess what? A fastball above the strike zone.
Well, like you said the other night, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's worked well for Doolittle, not only in this series, but throughout his career. That's been his go-to pitch, the high fastball.
Two and 1. Zimmerman in foul ground. It's in that wind. Not quite enough, though. And Doolittle able to lock it down. D-backs drop it 3-1, but they leave with another series win as we head home to face the Dodgers for 4 starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's always a little disappointing to drop the last game of a road trip, but Diamondbacks have nothing to hang their heads about. This Nationals team, they're going to be good before the summer's over. We fortunately caught them at a tough time and won the series.
Much more coming up from Nats Park right after this. D-backs drop the finale here, 3-1. You're watching D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona.